And welcome to episode 111 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean Ani, Director of Operations, and I'm joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing this week, Todd?
I'm good. It's a good week. We just got hit by a snowstorm yesterday. We were talking about that on the East Coast.
Oh, you poor babies. Oh,
yeah.
I feel
Actually,
so sad
I love
for
it.
you.
I love when it snows.
Well, I mean, it's different when you own your own house, though, because then if you have to go and shovel your driveway yourself, you're like, I miss living in an apartment building.
I know, but my father-in-law gave us his old snowblower, and I've never used one, so just I guess that's a gadget that fits the topic. It was really fun to use. Ended up blowing the sidewalks for all my neighbors.
Oh, I've wanted a snowblower for years, but it's just never come about, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Plus,
kind of fun.
I live down a rock road, so unless I want to throw rocks,
yeah,
as I go along.
My wife was like, "Don't hit the windows."
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be a bad thing. So a lot going on this week, as always, and looks like a new version of the iPad Pro is on its way.
Yeah, we were actually, I was kind of surprised to see that. We've already heard rumors all year long, really, that there's going to be 3 new iPads this year, like second half of the year. But Apple usually announces something about an event like in the spring, right? And then you have it in March. It's done in the past. We've talked about this. Like we'll be at Mobile World Congress, and then Apple kind of surprises us and hits us with like an iPad event invite, or maybe not so surprise us, but it's always funny because I think one year I was like, Apple just stole the show from Mobile World Congress. We're all here in Barcelona, and they announced this event. So we generally expect new iPads in the spring, but I was a little surprised to see Mac Rumors yesterday wrote a story about the iPad Pro, the 12.9 inch is already stock in some models, 2 to 3 week deliveries. Some you can't get it in stores until early March, which is surprising. I mean, because if it's an older product, you usually see them, there's plenty of stock. It's not like it's so popular that it's out of stock. And so that usually, unless it's a one-day thing and they're just going to get a bunch of stock and the site was off, that that there's going to be a refresh really soon.
Yeah, the iPad Pro has been a tricky beast. I mean, is it popular enough really to warrant a second generation? I mean,
I think it must be because the current strategy, at least according to rumors, and I don't know if they're all going to be refreshed this spring or if there's going to be, actually second half, because, it would be January, February, March, April, May, June, and then we'd hit second half. So I think, maybe just that one gets refreshed first and then the other two come. But here's the thing. Apparently Apple is going to do a 12.9 inch iPad Pro, right? So probably with the smart connector and the keyboard, stuff like that. And then a 10.5 inch iPad Pro is the other rumor, which we've never had a 10.5 inch iPad before, any kind. And then the rumor is that the 9.7 might not be a Pro again. So the 9.7 is a standard size iPad, and that would hit as the entry level. And then you have to wonder what happens to the iPad mini? Maybe that's just dead. So those are the 3: 9.7 standard iPad, 10.5 inch Pro, 12.9 inch Pro. And so to answer your question the long way is, if they're keeping the 12.9 inch in that family and introducing another one and not making the 9.7 a Pro, then it must be warrant.
Yeah, I as I've mentioned before, I've been using a 12.9 and I like it way more than I thought I would. So I just don't know. I mean, when I'm in airports or out and about, I don't see a lot of people using the ginormous iPad.
Me neither. Yeah, it's where, I mean, you have one. Where do you use it? Just at home?
No, I take it on flights with me and stuff. I mean, it's great for watching movies on a plane. But
I rarely see the big one too.
Yeah, I mean, I see tons and tons of iPads on planes, but I just don't see the ginormous 12.9. But
right, and I own the 9.7 because it was the 12.9 was just a little too big for me, I thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. So while we're talking about refreshes, though, and I know we didn't put this in the notes, but I should bring up that this week also somebody spotted in the Mac OS code a refresh for the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar and the other MacBook Pros, which is interesting because computers. And I wrote in the headline, like, don't buy one of those right now, because if the refresh is coming with the next release of Mac OS, which is probably coming pretty soon because it's already in developer testing, then we're talking about probably a couple months, if that. And that's with Intel's new Kaby Lake 7th generation, i7, i5 processors. I would want that. And it was actually really surprising that Apple didn't include those in their laptops the first time around. And I also wouldn't be surprised if maybe those processors help fix the battery life issues. I don't know if that's definite, but in any case, people were like, don't tell people not to buy a laptop. And I'm like, well, I would tell my friends. So if you don't want me to tell you the truth.
I had a lot of issues with the comments that were made on that, about you were going to possibly hurt Mac sales and all that. How many years has Mac Rumors had the Mac buying guide?
Yeah, which is a very valuable tool.
Yeah,
I mean, you see how long it's been, and it tells you whether you should upgrade or not, or buy.
Right.
Whatever.
I mean, they put a red bar on there saying "Don't buy."
Yeah,
that's part of what we do in this industry. We're here to help guide the consumers. I would much rather tell someone, "Hey, just hold off, wait. There's something coming." So don't buy a MacBook Pro right now. There seems to be something going on. I would also tell everyone, don't buy an iPad Pro right now. It looks like something's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I would say the same thing. Like, don't buy a new iPad right now. I mean, unless you don't care. And there's so many people out there, like Joe Consumer, I don't really care. I just need one right now for school or something. And you're like, all right, then buy it. But for I think sometimes those comments though are like, honestly, folks who just bought the laptop. They're like,
yeah,
jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. But yeah.
So silly. So of course, also this week, the big announcement that Android Wear 2.0 is happening.
Yeah.
How long's it been since they updated Android Wear?
Well, they announced this back at I/O last year, I think, and it's been in like beta testing since then, and the it's not out yet for like all the other watches. The only ones that they're getting it, like if you want it really soon, are the the LG Watch Sport and the LG Watch Style. The Sport's like $350. I think the Style's like $100 less, maybe a little more. I don't know. It's just so hard for me to get excited about Android Wear 2.0. Like, I haven't really played with it, but in general, it just hasn't been a mobile operating system or a smartwatch operating system. And I thought the watches yesterday just looked like more of the same. So we haven't had a chance to play with them yet. So I'm going to hold, like our regular caveats on them. But I don't know. I don't think they came with like a big enough splash to say like, here's what's new, here's what's different, here's what you can do with Android Wear that you can't do on Samsung's Tizen, with the Gear what are we on, S3 now? And instead it was just very much like, oh, now you have Android Pay. And like, we've had mobile payments on the other two platforms for a long time. I didn't really get a good grasp from what I was reading yesterday how great Google Assistant is on the watches, but again, that's something like, especially Apple Watches had Siri for a long time, so it wasn't like exciting at all. And the update's not hitting watches for a couple more weeks. And like I said, the LG Watch, I think it starts February 10th, so today I think you can start picking it up. And Verizon and AT&T though, and this part's pretty cool, but again, it's something that Samsung's already had. You can buy an LTE connected version from AT&T or Verizon, and AT&T's has their number sync technology, so like it has its own number or whatever, call forwarding, you leave your phone at home, you can still connect and get data and all that kind of stuff. But
I think that's cool, but the wearables space is so weird right now. It's just, I just don't know if it's ever going to become that big.
And like, well, right now too, I think it's hard because you had Fitbit, which is obviously struggling with sales. Because again, I think there's this big problem. Like, what is anybody going to do that's going to make these better than what you already have? Like, what is being added that's different? And so many of them are the exact same, with just like, I get it. There's the more expensive ones that GPS, they're targeted at runners, and you have like the mid-tier ones that are cheap, but they still track sleep, and mom and dad like those. And then you have the Apple Watch for like me. I don't know. I like the Apple Watch, but you don't have anything that's like really like, oh, I need this the way we did with smartphones or tablets when they really took off. And for that reason, and I think because so many millions of people have iPhones and stuff, you have has like 50% market share of the wearables. And I think that's why, because when you look at all these competitors like Android, they're all very similar. I mean, maybe the design's a little different or something like that, but
I don't know. I just we've got one comment here, and let me see if I can find it again real quick here. From Jeff Kelly. I hate how Google gets the ball rolling on stuff like Android 2.0. I assume he means Android Wear 2.0, or Allo Duo Inbox, just to turn around and move on to the next product. I think that's a good point, because Google, oh, look at what we're doing. This is a great new product. When was the last time anyone even talked about Allo or Duo?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was supposed to be hot.
They were hot, right? And Duo is still pretty cool. I use it with my wife. I mean, it's Google's FaceTime, basically, for people who aren't familiar with it. I like it. Like, I'll use it with my wife if I'm traveling or something like that, because she's an Android fangirl, and I use iPhone and Android, and so it's just easier to switch over to Duo. So anyway, instead of FaceTime. But then Allo was kind of like, remember when that launched, Snowden was like, this is the dumbest thing you could use. Like, there's no end-to-end encryption. I mean, I think you can turn it on now, but like, don't use it. And I think that, I mean, I'm not saying everybody listens to Snowden, but I think it was kind of met with like, oh, and a lot of us wrote about that too. I mean, it's true though. And I like it. It's fun. You can add in like fun little cartoons and stuff. And a lot of the guys in the office, like Niven, Brandon, Ralph, and I have one that we've had going, a chat in Alice and CES. But you compare it to like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, iMessage, all of those have end-to-end encryption now. And so it's kind of just like, I mean, if you care at all about your privacy online and the things you say, and Google, which always seems to be becoming scarier and scarier, it's like, using this, if there's other options and that again comes down to the Android Wear argument. Like, what is it doing that other apps don't? Not only that, what is it doing that other apps that Google provides don't do? Like Messenger, which is also a pretty good chat client.
When both of those were
SMS, though.
Yeah, when both of those were announced, I was like, okay, I have Hangouts. What's
Yeah. And there's Hangouts still too, which I haven't really liked. I feel like Hangouts is old, and I feel like what they should do maybe is make Allo the Hangouts or something. Like, all of these have to come together. There's just like there's too much going on, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, that comes back to Android Wear too, where as opposed to the way Samsung handles Tizen with Gear and the way Apple handles watchOS. They both, I think it seems we've had proof of this even, or even say Fitbit, the next, most popular. The difference between those and Android Wear is that the software and the hardware are controlled by a single manufacturer. When you come into Android Wear, it's up to the manufacturers to use the software and sort of tweak it to their own, liking. And I feel like that's where it worked for Android, obviously. I don't know that it's working for Android Wear. Maybe it kind of confuses everybody, like what a smartwatch is, those kinds of things. What can this do that others can't? Or what's different between a Moto 360 and an LG Watch Sport? Those kind of things. I mean, we know that. We know the difference, but I'm not sure consumers quite do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the manufacturers right now are trying to find that, and they have been for a couple of years. They're trying to find that next big thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought they had it with tablets, but what they didn't realize was that tablets wasn't going to have the same replacement cycle as a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Smart, gadgets on your wrist just don't seem to be catching on. And now, they're trying with VR. I don't know what are they finally going to settle on? It seems like everyone's so disjointed right now. They're jumping at the next shiny thing, going, oh, this is what consumers are going to want, so we need to do this real quick. Oh, wait, they didn't thrill to it. Oh, okay, let's go try this shiny thing.
Yeah. Well, I think one of it is these things take time. Like the way smartphones were around for years before 2007, and then the iPhone was like, oh, consumers need these too. We don't like, I can't think of an enterprise product that you would then turn around and say, oh, consumers need these too right now. And I think that was a big help for the smartphone, because you had people that were familiar with it, and then, you know, they saw how it could play into their life outside work and those kinds of things. Yeah, tablets, I feel like, are still, you know, yeah, I think it's still like there's been a big splash, but it's kind of plateauing. It feels like wearables feels like it never even had that big splash, aside from maybe the health trackers. But again, they all do the same thing. And I think maybe what it's going to have to take is like these wearables, whether it's a smartwatch or something like that, that really truly give us like a snapshot of our health. And that might take a long time, but I think it'll eventually happen. You know, we heard those rumors early on that like Apple wanted to do stuff that would require FDA approval or something like that. Like maybe you could monitor all your blood glucose, your blood pressure, and all kinds of, you know, really cool things that, you know, create trends that you can then show your doctor. And maybe there's a whole platform that when you get to the doctor, you know, you offload your wearable to them and they see this whole snapshot of the month or 6 months you've been away. I feel like once we get to that point, then I feel like people are going to be like, oh, I need a wearable, because it shows me how healthy I am, what my day-to-day activities are like. You know, I'm eating too much junk food, as if like getting overweight doesn't show you that already. But, you know, I think it has to be something that people care about, as opposed to something that's fun or fashionable or something like that to really take off.
Yeah, Apple certainly seemed to be trying for fashionable with Apple Watch, but I don't know how fashionable it is. Of course, am I really a judge of fashion? But
yeah, me neither. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
but it has to be like something that's so useful. I mean, when you look at car tech, for example, like I think the reason autonomous driving, I think that's going to be one of the biggest things, you know, over the next coming years, probably more exciting than smartphones. But you think like, okay, this is going to save my life. So this is important. And this is before even cars are driving themselves. Maybe just like all these added protective features, you know, that the cars have. And so you start to think, okay, I need that in my next car. I want that in my next car. Or manufacturers are like, we're going to build it into the cars anyway. And so then adoption kind of takes off because it's so important to you. And I think if wearables did that too, where it's like, oh, this is really going to help me live. It's going to help my wife live longer. It's going to help my kids know that they're healthy or not healthy, catch things before anybody else does. Before it's like that, then maybe wearables probably aren't going to be as huge, you know, because like, who cares? Like, what if my Apple Watch plays movies next year? Like, I don't think I really care about that. So like, what would the features be that really drive grandma to want an Apple Watch? You know? Or like a not techie. And I think it has to be that. Otherwise, then you start to look at like companies like what Fossil is doing, where they're building these health tracking features and weavings and all these into traditional looking smartwatches. So like, even though it looks like a regular watch, it still has, you know, step counters or software like sleep tracking and stuff like that built in, you know, under the hood there. And that allows people to still have a classic looking watch. It doesn't glow. It doesn't look like a smartwatch, but they still get those features. I think it's going to be a combo of both of that.
We've got one question here that kind of plays into another topic that you wanted to touch on from Brazen Franco about why get a tablet when there is Chrome OS. So sitting on your desk right now, and the review just went live this morning, and I cannot remember the exact name of the tablet or the laptop.
This one's the Samsung Chromebook Pro. It'll go on sale in April. I've had it for exactly 2 weeks and 1 day now. For a review, this is from Google and Samsung. The Chromebook Plus goes on sale this weekend, I think. And the difference is this is the Pro. It has an Intel Core M processor. The Plus has a slightly lower powered ARM processor. This will sell for $550 and the Plus will sell for $450. And literally that's the only difference is the processor. But it's got a great screen. I actually thought performance was awesome. Android apps, and here's the answer to your question. Chrome OS, the app selection is pretty limited right now. And while this is going to be one of the first computers to launch with Android apps out of the box, the Google Play Store, currently it's just still in beta testing, even on this. The problem is the Android apps like really don't run that well. Some do and some don't. And I haven't tested the Plus version of this with the ARM processor, but The Verge said a lot better. So this one still needs some tweaking. I still said it's like one of the best I've ever used. The design is amazing. I don't know if you saw me clicking, but I was pulling out. There's a stylus. Don't call it an S Pen because Samsung's not branding it that. But you can use this to write on the screen. It's got a really sharp display, 2 USB-C ports. But we saw this first at CES, and now it's finally hitting the market next month. Again, the Plus is going on sale this weekend. I really like it. The reviews out there were all over the place. Some people really did not like it. So play with it first. But
yeah, I mean, I like Chrome OS. I have 2 older HP Chromebooks that I bought certified refurbished for like next to nothing. And I love it, but, there's... people say, why use a tablet and all that. I mean, if I'm laying in bed, I'm using my iPad. I'm not going to get a keyboard out and
exactly
all that.
But this one does. It's just, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
This one does.
You go.
I think there's a lag. This one goes 360 degrees, so you can kind of treat it like a laptop.
Well, that's nice.
But then you got the keyboard on the back, which feels kind of weird.
Yeah. But I mean, when I'm watching movies on a plane or whatever, I prefer a tablet. I think there's definitely a use case scenario for tablets still, and there's a use case scenario for Chromebooks. I'm a big fan of Chromebooks as well. So jumping into the questions, and I need to address Brazen Franco's comment from earlier about watching this on a 4K 65-inch TV, time to stream in 4K, guys. Believe me, you do not want to see this beard in 4K. So,
damn, I don't like the idea that I'm sitting on your TV in 65 inches right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then Jeff Kelly, of course, chimes in that he's watching us on a 5K 27-inch iMac. So, yeah, nice. I don't think we'll be upgrading to high resolution cameras anytime soon.
Oh, for the 5K iMac. I thought he was talking about the LG's 5K display. I was like, I'm glad it's working.
Yeah. So a lot of questions here from David Nunez. I got a Nexus 6P this week. Did I make a huge mistake because Google will stop supporting it soon, or was my $300 second hand purchase valid? P.S. It was a gold 32 gigabyte. I think it was a valid purchase.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't care, it's not going to get updates, and it sounds like you don't because you're aware of it. Then I would, I'm sure it'll still get the security patches and stuff. But
yeah, once again, Google just going, "Oh, we're done with that."
Yeah. Oh, forget that. But hey, we had covered that pretty extensively. Like Google had said they're going to stop support and all that. So it sounds like you knew it, and it's fine. $300. It sounds all right to me.
Yeah, I've still got a Nexus 6, and it's one of my backup phones, but I like it. I think that's one of the greatest phones ever. Mm-hmm. From Jeff Kelly, hey guys, what was the last thing you bought? Any big purchases? Well, actually, arriving today is my second outdoor Nest Cam. So
nice.
Because I've really got into knowing who's driving down my road, but other than that, no, I haven't made any big purchases recently.
Mine's this TV right here. This is a 43-inch Vizio 4K. But it was like 300 something bucks. I mean, it wasn't like a huge purchase or anything.
Well, now also Vizio knows everything you do.
I know, but I was thinking, and I tweeted this. Now Vizio it was caught, so it has to stop. It's the other makers now who are probably still doing it. Plus, I don't care. It was anonymized data.
Here's the thing, though. This is going to sound horrible. I realized a long time ago, bringing this sort of stuff into my house, you're giving up all sorts of privacy.
Yeah.
It's just, if you want to be into technology, you got to realize your privacy went out the window years ago.
Mhm.
I don't care if you're using IP, breaking your geolocation, you're using Tor browsers and all that. Someone somewhere knows what you're doing. I have one friend who, is so proud. Oh, you Google me, you can't find me. And took about 5 minutes later, was like, so here you are on this page, and I found this information. Oh, here's your home address.
I'll find you.
Yeah, I love it when my
I don't know if
friends.
people can see my big eyes. I'm watching.
I love it when people think they have zero digital footprint. No, I can find
And
something
we have
on you.
Alexas all over our homes. And I'm on somebody's 65-inch TV right now.
Yeah, exactly.
My privacy's out the window.
Yeah, exactly. And also their neighbor can probably see you with a screen that big, but they can see you from space. Let's see here. From Brazen Franco, do you think Apple will remove more ports with the next MacBook refresh, or is it time to get rid of the display or keyboard?
I like the refresh we're talking about, I guess, with the MacBook Pro is just going to be the processor probably. I don't think it's going to change body. I think for the most part, they're just going to start using Intel 7th gen processors. But I do like that joke. I don't know what Apple's actually going to get rid of next.
Yeah. From Razer 2048, tablets are overpriced in general when you consider the specs you get for the money. I think, though, with tablets, yes, in general, I do think they're too expensive, but it's the form factor that you're buying.
Yeah.
I've never looked at an iPad and gone, oh, why aren't you as powerful as this laptop? No, it's all about the form factor and convenience, I feel.
Me too. It's like it's the super lightweight, super thin, throw it in your bag, you don't even know it's there kind of thing.
Exactly. From Brazen Franco, what do you think Razer will do with Nextbit? Remember that you were a fan of the phone, Todd.
Yeah, I really like Nextbit, and I like the people that work there. I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they build. I liked the Nextbit Robin. I think maybe it was a little underpowered. The screen wasn't too great, that kind of stuff. Not enough storage. I hope they kind of do like a OnePlus thing where like they do as premium as possible. It doesn't have to be the materials really, but like the specs, as premium as possible, the lowest cost possible, and maybe throw in some of that Razer glowing love, like a glowing logo or something fun. I don't know. I think that would be cool. It would stand out a bit. Maybe, obviously attract that audience. Anything that ties into gaming a little bit, though. And I'm not sure how they would do it. But they could, I mean, if you look at like what Nextbit did with the Robin, they had a couple colorways, I think like 3 plus the limited edition one. So like you think, are they going to sell like special, like the way Razer does, like a Overwatch colorway or cases maybe that go with it? That could be kind of cool.
I don't know. Speaking as someone wearing a Pebble, I'm tired of companies being bought. Because you never know what's going to happen to your favorite products.
Yeah, but the good thing is, I guess I like Razer's products and I like Nextbit's products, and so I feel like together it should be pretty cool.
Yeah. From David Nunez, what would you rather have, Sean and Todd, a smartwatch or a tablet? Tablet.
Yeah, tablet.
Yeah. I mean, smartwatches are nice, but tablet is a big part of my day anymore. Jeff Kelly says he would rather have anything Apple makes. No, not true.
Who are you or me?
I think it was to both of us. Who knows?
Oh.
Okay, let's see here. What else have we
As
got?
I'm sitting on a Surface Book.
Yeah, this YouTube chat is just the worst way to look at questions. I hate it. From David Nunes, do you two agree with John's thoughts on the Google Wi-Fi? He caught some hate for that, and I personally was thankful for it because I was anxiously waiting for Google Wi-Fi and had all these dreams of what I was going to do with my Wi-Fi in my house. And yeah, the thing people have to remember is that TechnoBuffalo has always tried to speak for the consumers. And, yes, John caught some heat for that. And it's just like, why? This is a real life scenario. This is what happened. He was unhappy. Although he had given it a glowing review before, he went back and went, okay, guys, look, after this amount of time, it didn't do what I hoped. I think that's perfectly valid. Unfortunately, I have not used Google Wi-Fi, and I doubt I will now based on that because I trust John. Who knows why? Maybe just because he signs my paycheck. But I trust John to not just say these things willy-nilly. If he had a truly bad experience, he had a truly bad experience. And I think that's part of what we do here at TechnoBuffalo. He needed to share that with our subscribers and our readers.
Yeah, I'm with him. I think I was excited about Google Wi-Fi too. I didn't buy it, so I've never even used it, so I can't say, like, do I agree with him? I agree with the idea though. Like, if it worked fine in the office and then he took it home and it didn't work fine, like, you guys should know about that and know that it could potentially happen to you. But obviously that shows, look, if it worked in the office and it's going to work for some people, there's just, I guess there's some problems with it or whatever.
Yeah. No, there were problems with it. That's what we do here.
I mean, those speeds that he said that would suck.
Yeah. From Razor 2048, what happens when Nest Cam decides to shut the service down or up the prices? Will you just let your cameras become paperweights or give in to any other unreasonable demands they may have? Here's the thing. Yes, I am 100% aware that Nest could shut everything down tomorrow and I would have expensive paperweights. This is the world of technology, though. There's a lot of benefits to using Nest. There's a lot of benefits to using any cloud-based service. It is a gamble you're taking. I try to educate myself the best that I can, and at the end of the day, it's my gamble to take. If they up the price significantly, I mean, the thing is with Nest, just because you have the streaming capability doesn't mean you have to record it. So you don't even have to pay anything after you buy the initial camera. I've been doing a deep clean of my house recently, and the amount of technology I have found that I purchased over the years that had nothing to do with cloud-based or anything like that, that was just completely pointless at the end of the day. Believe me, I've been down this road.
Well, a couple questions. Why? What's going on? What's the problem with Nest? I mean, it's owned by Google. I know they've had some shifts there.
Oh no,
I don't think that's going to shut down anytime soon. They just launched a new product.
Right. Throughout the chat, Razor's been talking about cloud-based services. And I mentioned, that I've got a new Nest camera coming, so he locked onto that one. But he's been talking about anytime you rely on cloud-based services, this is a potential problem. So it was a question directly at me, because
I feel like you're good though with Nest. I mean, it's owned by Google, and if they're going to shut it down, they're going to do it slowly. But I don't think they're going to. I mean, there's way too many of those out there. If anything, they would probably fold into another ecosystem or something like that. But yeah, I agree. Like when you buy a connected camera that's, has some kind of cloud component, you're kind of tied into having to pay the fee if you want those services. But you go in knowing that, like the $10 for the recording, which I pay for as well. I mean, it's an option and it's a feature that wasn't there at launch. If I'm correct, pretty sure. So, and it's also comparable to what you would pay with other services. And it's cheaper than what you would pay if I have a monitored system. And so it's not really cloud-based, quote unquote. It's like, it's part of my security system. And I have an IP camera with them. And I think it's like $30 a month or something like that, $20 a month. But
wow.
Yeah, I need to cancel that part of it. But that's like, look, like if that camera detects something and I'm away and then the police come, like that's something Nest can't do. I'd have to manually go in and say, oh, somebody's in my house.
Yeah.
So like that's the difference. I mean, but you pay for these things.
Yeah. Just part of being tech fanatics.
Mhm.
From Jeff Kelly, call me stupid, but I knew what was going to happen, and I'm not up to anything, so I couldn't care less about all this stuff listening to me. I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I get both sides of the argument. People think that anything listening to them is a bad thing, but I'm sorry, I can't imagine living my life without an Echo now. So if it hears me say bad things,
I know. I'm gonna head out and grab an Echo Tap. I think.
I am
I don't know if
so not
anybody
telling
knows
my
this.
father that they changed that.
Yeah, but I should. For people who don't know, yesterday Amazon added the function, the Echo Tap. You can now just say Alexa instead of holding the button. So it is very much a portable Amazon Echo with 8 hours of battery life. So I need one now.
Yeah. Let's see here. David Nunez, do you think Apple will make a big announcement during Mobile World Congress and steal the show while not being at the show? Now, and to be fair, Jeff Kelly's saying no, that won't happen. They'll wait for their own keynote. The thing is, though, Jeff, Apple loves to announce a keynote during Mobile World Congress. So they'll just send out the invitation, letting you know it's coming.
Get people talking.
Yeah, and get people talking, and then they steal all the thunder of Mobile World Congress. They do this all the time.
Which is hilarious, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this year if they really are planning on something, because Samsung's going to be there with its tablets, which might include the Galaxy Tab Pro 2, which is their Windows 10 machine, and Galaxy Tab S3, their new flagship Android tablets.
Okay, Brazen Franco says, well, Sean, that's where you're wrong. Nobody will get through my private servers, PF Sense router, and the Linux bastion that is my home. Okay. Sure.
You just look in your windows, though.
Yeah, you're connected to the wider world. If somebody really wanted to get in, they'd get in. Let's see. David Nunez, Todd, are you excited for spring to come? You always talk about being outdoors with your gadgets and boots.
Yes. I am excited for spring to come. I was actually happy about the snow because I was able to wear my boots. Yeah, I'm ready for fishing, actually. So a couple, maybe 2 months. Maybe I'll get lucky next month. We'll see.
Interesting question from Blockinese. What do you guys think the future of email will look like? That's an interesting question. I remember vividly, I cannot remember the guy's name, but oh man, I got into it years ago with a guy who was sure that Facebook messages, before they had the, IM, when it was just Facebook messages, he was sure that was going to replace email. We were all going to be done with it. And I was like, no, there is absolutely no way that's going to replace email. Email is the oldest thing on the web, but when was the last true revolution in this technology?
I don't know. Gmail, threaded messages.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine though living life without email?
Yeah, it would be a lot happier.
I could get back that 2 hours a day I spend filing press releases out of my inbox.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought because email is such an essential tool in how we do things. I don't know when it's going to change or how it's going to change. I wish I did, because then I'd find someone to help me build it and I'd become rich. But someday. From David Nunez, Sean, did you hear the news about the Star Wars theme park is coming in 2019? Yes, I did, and I was very depressed.
Yeah, boo.
I really thought it was going to be next year. At first, I hoped it was going to be this year. Then I was like, oh, okay, I can live with 2018. Then I heard 2019. I started to cry a little bit. Because let's see, I'll be the 48-year-old man standing in line going, open the gates. Hey.
Hey, why not?
From David Nunez, I'm on the same boat with you on the Google Wi-Fi, but I don't get 1 gigabyte internet, so I think it might still be for me. I don't know. That's a good question. it may have not just been able to handle the speeds John pays for, and maybe it'd be fine at a lower speed. That's an excellent question, but unfortunately, I don't know what the answer would be.
Yeah, what's the limit on that technology? Well, it would still be 802.11ac, right? So I don't know what the throughput limit is. Is it gigabit?
I don't know.
Maybe that's the problem. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it because I don't have gigabit either. I'm still talking about 100 down at best, which is I'm fine with.
Yes, exactly. Supposedly there's gigabit coming to my town, and I'm just like, I looked at the prices. I love this. They're going to be charging more for it, but they're going to put a 500 gigabyte data cap on it. So in other words,
so you're going to get a gigabit per second.
Yeah, wow. So I could burn through my entire data cap that much faster. Why is there?
That's why they're doing
it. I know. From David Nunes, as an inspiring journalist currently going to school, where should I try to enter the field? Magazine, paper, or website?
That's difficult. I feel like, magazine is paper, but
he's talking newspaper.
I know, but both of those are probably good just for a good foundation. I liked that I started I started online, then I went to a magazine. I liked learning how that process worked. It was kind of like the old school. And you have to kind of be aware of like how many words you can fit on a page, and sometimes that's important. But on the other hand, you want to be able to show experience writing online if that's what that's the future of publishing.
I think one of the benefits to starting in print is that you learn a much more it's not relaxed, but it's more relaxed than online journalism.
A little slower paced.
Yeah, because you have deadlines, and you have to remember you're also working on pieces that won't see print for, in this day and age, 3-4 weeks. When I was working in magazines, I had a 6-week lead time. So I would turn in my article, it would not hit newsstands for 6 weeks. So I had to work with that in mind. Of course, in online journalism, I'm writing something up and it's live on the internet 15 minutes later. So when you're in the early stages and you're just learning your craft, I would say starting in print's going to teach you a lot of skills that will still apply, and it will also allow you to learn at a somewhat more relaxed pace.
Yeah, but it's tough. There's benefits to both. If you're online, you're working with somebody who's like, oh, SEO is important and, this and that. But I think no matter what, you want to work with people who've been doing either for a long time, and good editors and stuff like that who can teach you.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that is going to bring this week's episode to a close. Thank you for the very active chat room today. That's always appreciated because it keeps us flowing with ideas of what we can talk about and that you guys enjoy. You can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on the iTunes Store, and we do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help out the show. You can also find us on the Google Play Store. You can subscribe via RSS feed. You can find us on Pocket Casts, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Until next time, which, by the way, there will be no show next week because I will be on my way to New York for Toy Fair. So we'll skip next week. Until next time, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the Director of Operations. I've been joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
Until next time, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.